I believe we are beginning with prayer, and you're all invited to participate in the recitation of the Prayer of Peace. And now I introduce to you the rector of this beautiful university, Friar Leonardo Sileo.
Eminenza reverendissima, si sente, sì? Ecco. Signori e signori, benvenuti nella aula magna della Pontificia Università Urbaniana. Vi do il benvenuto in rappresentanza di tutta la comunità di questa università, docenti, personale amministrativo e soprattutto studenti, tanti studenti. Bene, questa è una università missionaria e al tempo stesso è una università non internazionale ma multiculturale. Sono presenti qui studenti di 105 nazioni e questa università ha collegamenti diretti, quindi responsabilità accademica, di 105 istituti affiliati presenti in tutti e 5 i continenti, uno anche nel Sud Sudan, 3 nel Congo. Dunque la nostra università partecipa in maniera viva a questa tavola rotonda che in realtà guarda due aree geografiche particolarmente bisognose di pace. Ora, la pace la si può costruire, come è indicato nel programma, insieme, sempre che questa costruzione usi intelligenza e strumenti adeguati alla natura umana. E credo che soprattutto a partire dal Concilio Vaticano II si è compreso che la costruzione della pace tra gli uomini e in mezzo agli uomini, in particolare tra i popoli, possa essere pensata e costruita attraverso il dialogo. Ricordo l'Ecclesiam Suam di Paolo VI, che in fondo è il documento spirituale di tutto il rinnovamento conciliare della Chiesa e dunque della condivisione da parte della Chiesa delle speranze e delle aspirazioni e delle angosce del mondo. Indicava la via del dialogo a cerchi concentrici. Da un cerchio si passa ad un altro senza avere una sorta di restrizione. Dialogo aperto, infinito, con chiunque e per qualsiasi questione. Mi permetto di portare alla vostra attenzione un passo dell'Evangelii Gaudium di Papa Francesco, il numero 238. L'evangelizzazione implica anche un cammino di dialogo per la Chiesa. In questo tempo ci sono in modo particolare 3 ambiti di dialogo nei quali deve essere presente per adempiere un servizio in favore del pieno sviluppo dell'essere umano e perseguire il bene comune, il dialogo con gli Stati, con la società, che comprende il dialogo con le culture e le scienze, e quello con gli altri credenti che non fanno parte della Chiesa cattolica. Ora, a questo riguardo, mi ha colpito in maniera proprio personale il discorso che Papa Francesco ha tenuto alla Curia Romana per fare gli auguri di Natale. E riferendosi all'attività della Chiesa nei confronti delle altre religioni, quindi dell'altro, ha presentato il dialogo evocando 3 esigenze. Perché il dialogo sia autentico occorre, dice, anzitutto la verità della propria identità. Nel dialogo non ci si deve nascondere, occorre presentarsi all'altro così come si è, nella consapevolezza della propria storia, della propria geografia, delle proprie aspirazioni. Il dialogo poi ha bisogno del coraggio dell'alterità, proprio usa questo termine, il coraggio dell'alterità. È chiaro, tutti vorremmo che gli altri fossero uguali a noi. Il conformismo è la via più semplice. Il mondo invece è fatto di differenti individualità e le differenze sono una benedizione, non dipendono dal peccato originale. Dio ci ha fatto diversi gli uni dagli altri, siamo individui. Occorre però che ci rivolgiamo agli individui con il coraggio di presentare la nostra autenticità e di accogliere gli altri. La terza esigenza che indicava, credo che sia quella di cui abbiamo bisogno e credo che la tavola rotonda la farà emergere, è, dice Papa Francesco, la sincerità dei propositi, delle intenzioni. Non bisogna essere furbi, non si costruisce niente di solido, si costruisce sulla sabbia se le nostre intenzioni non sono sincere. Bene, affido a voi queste considerazioni. Io personalmente, essendo francescano, che, come dire, saluti un evento di studio, di riflessione, di considerazione, come dire, fortemente legato alle cose concrete o alle cose stesse come tale, in un clima di preghiera francescana, per me è una consolazione. Grazie buon lavoro e che il Signore ci benedica nella sincerità dei propositi, ci dia forza attraverso lo Spirito nel coraggio di affrontare le differenze e al tempo stesso ci mantenga integri nella nostra autenticità. Grazie e buon lavoro.
And it's now my pleasure also to introduce Cardinal Peter Turkson, Prefect of the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development. And I don't think I need to say any more about the Cardinal and his passion for justice and peace.
I don't want to say that that passion has been transformed into a passion for development. But I wish a good afternoon to you, Your Excellencies, my Lord Archbishops and Bishops, very Reverend Fathers, Professors, and all of you, my brothers and sisters. We want to welcome all of you very heartily to this event. We're very glad for your generous acceptance of our invitation to be here this afternoon. And we trust that your own contribution to the issues on the table will be of great benefit to us as we move ahead with concerns and the ways of dealing with the challenges from these two countries. The objective of this event is to develop the message of Pope Francis from the prayer service that was held in the Vatican on the 23rd of November last, by raising awareness about the urgent need for peace in these two countries, and through dialogue to suggest concrete action to make peace possible. This, coming from our dicastery, is very indicative of some other concerns which I shall talk about briefly. When, however, you all registered for this event, you filled out a registration form where many of you indicated your desire to continue your networking with these countries. Many of you have lived in these countries and/or have been involved in peace efforts and would like to focus your energy in bringing peace about. To counter violence, active nonviolence is an essential transitional process that builds up just peace. Your speakers this afternoon will be here to inspire you to find ways to do this peace building together. Throughout this evening, we are seeking the guidance of the Holy Spirit to make this happen. And incidentally, we need to observe that when we talk about nonviolence, it's not just a rhetoric against war, but it's also a rhetoric for promoting the building of dignities of people. Nonviolence is not only when we move away from war, but nonviolence is also what we do to diminish the dignity and the respect of people, of each other. What we do to hurt the dignities of people is an act of violence. When we diminish the respect of people, it's an act of violence. And when we make people, place them in positions in which they cannot accept the basic rights and dignities of life, we do them a lot of violence. So nonviolence may not be limited to just rhetoric for avoiding war and conflict, but most importantly, for what we do to each other in the process of inflicting violence. The people in these two countries are becoming more united in their effort to promote the well-being of one another. They've been engaged in nonviolent, courageous stands and have become clear about what is important in their countries. These are our friends and they are our community members who have suffered enormously for their convictions, but who are standing together to make your voice powerful. And so we join you in not being silent about the injustices and the need to respect the constitutions to your very many different countries, but most importantly, to respect who you are as human beings, created in the image and the likeness of God, and therefore subjects of basic dignity and human rights. We're here to learn more about your situation and to join in efforts to be united to your hopes and your dreams. The speakers this evening, representatives of your country, are here to share their stories. We will walk with you during this time of pain and suffering so we can determine what is ours to do and what we can do with you. We know that you are our brothers and sisters and that we are engaged in your destiny. For humanity was created as a family. Although brotherhood introduces differences and diversification, but essentially, a common family is what God designed at the beginning. So this evening we want to sow seeds of peace with you as we visit through photos and personal experiences, sins that spawn and fuel wars, pride, greed, lust for power, and lies. But also know that here are many of our experiences where we realize that our Lord is at work for us and with us. We are convinced that the Lord is our peace, and peace is his gift to us. With our Lord, we have the courage and have non-violently sought to break down the walls of hostility that today divide brothers and sisters, especially in South Sudan and in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Though our efforts to reach out to one another on a daily basis to comfort, to protect, and to face the truth of our reality, we have been empowered by the Holy Spirit to believe and to trust that the kingdom of God is at hand. Indeed, it is in our midst. The daily media has captured your incredibly courageous actions in which you are instruments of peace and act non-violently to combat evil with good and with deeds of fraternity, respect, encounter, and solidarity. The bishops, priests, and religious and lay faithful are joined in this effort. And today you see the support of your community here in Rome, in the Holy See, and in the different religious congregations. As a dicastery for the promotion of integral human development, we know that there is no development without peace. Pope Paul VI told us this years ago. But he went on also quickly to say that development is not possible without peace, and that peace is a requirement of all development. Indeed, this has enabled us even to stand in New York in the context of discussing the SDGs to say that the greatest enemy to the realization of the SDGs is not the lack of funds. It is rather the lack of peace and peaceful conditions in which development can take place and can be brought about. And so we need to be concerned for the well-being of one another and to strive to work for the end of conflicts and to promote the respect of human rights. Human dignity is what we all created with. Human dignity is not granted to another human being by a court of law, by any institution on earth. It's just what we were created by God to be, to enjoy, and to relish. And therefore, promoting the dignity of everybody is the one basic thing that is required of us. And development becomes a form of making all of these dignities realized and lived. Accordingly, conflicts, when they do avoid and hinder the promotion of respect for human rights, need to be resisted. We need to do all in our power locally, nationally, and internationally through our areas of contact to be knowledgeable about what is needed and to persist in our advocacy effort to attain this. Our church has many institutions, and through these institutions and services, it seeks to be close to the people. This is where we are in touch with the daily needs of our people and strive to minister in the spirit of Jesus. I have visited the conditions in the Sudan twice, both of them after the eruption of conflict in the presidential palace. And where people have sought refuge then were in schools, in churches, and in religious houses. So when I did with the Archbishop of Juba, we went and sought firewood and found firewood together. We lit the fires, and we put the pots on the fires to cook whatever grass or weeds they had gathered to come to cook and use as meal. Human beings are not meant to live like that. Yet, when conflict is brought upon people, that's what happens. On the other hand, when at some such sessions, you show an image or video of a situation of conflict, and you ask people, what did you see? They say we see a lot of conflict. But what we see is not conflict. What we see is human beings who yield to conflicts. Conflict is an abstract thing that does not exist. Conflict becomes real only through people and in people. Without people, conflict has no face, has no feet, and has no hands. And conflict inflicts no wounds without people. So what we see in any situation of war is not conflict. It is people who have yielded to conflicts or who have yielded to hateful sentiments which enable them to be conflictual and to murderous and harbor murderous intent in their lives. So, my dear friends, we trust that your gathering this afternoon will be a follow-up of the Vespers we celebrated with Pope Francis in St. Peter's Basilica last November. This time now, all of you probably are going to get a chance to express yourself and to say one or two things which you think can probably contribute to this. So this is a roundtable session. We want to listen to all and be able to benefit from the points of view of all of you gathered here. But tonight, the faithful in Rome have gathered here to become more aware of the pains and the sorrows of South Sudan and the DRC Republic of the Congo, where our dicastery planned a visit. He wanted to visit the South because that's where most people had been thrown out of their homes. It was not possible, but the aid went on ahead to the through the Nunciature to the 5 dioceses in the Kasai region, which were already suffering. And we planned a follow-up visit, a visit which is now postponed by the fact that there's a tension now between government and the church. And as soon as we can have that settled, I think we'll do a visit to the DRC Congo to show solidarity of the church and that the church is always where its children are, whether they're sorrowing or whether they're rejoicing. So welcome again, my dear friends, to this session. And let us all together with our points of view and whatever we share together help build peace in the DRC, Congo, and in South Sudan. Both countries supposed to be essentially Catholic. May God bless our efforts tonight. Thank you.
And thank you, Cardinal. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Her Excellency Callista Gingrich, Ambassador from the United States of America to the Holy See. She has many years of political service. She and her husband have produced documentary films and books related to public policy. They promoted their messages through speeches in public media, and she's particularly interested in issues related to human trafficking and human rights. She'll speak to us about the US concerns for South Sudan and the DRC. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'd like to thank Cardinal Turkson for the opportunity to be with you today. Thanks as well to Solidarity with South Sudan, the Justice, Peace, and Integrity of Creation Commission, the Union of Superiors General, and the International Union Superiors General for organizing this important roundtable dialogue. I greatly appreciate your hard work and tireless pursuit of peace. Today's gathering will help foster human rights, solidarity, reconciliation, and justice. I also want to commend the Catholic Church for supporting civil society, fighting for justice, and working for a mediated solution through dialogue. The fearless leadership of the Church to advance peace, justice, and prosperity in both the Democratic Republic of the Congo and South Sudan is an inspiration to the world. However, as Cardinal Turkson stressed to me last week, societies cannot be developed without security. Children cannot be educated when they are hungry or forced into militias. Communities cannot be fed when aid workers and farmers are attacked. Businesses cannot be sustained when societies are plagued by corruption. And the rights of women cannot be guaranteed when sexual violence is commonplace. The United States is actively engaged in supporting democracy, human rights, and the rule of law in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and South Sudan. We, along with the rest of the world, were shocked when peaceful protests organized by the Catholic Church were violently repressed by the DRC's security forces on December 31st. This suppression and violence has galvanized the international community to ensure the implementation of the December 2016 St. Sylvester Accords. Nikki Haley, the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, recently said, quote, "President Kabila must hold his security forces accountable, respect the human rights of his citizens, and follow through with his commitment to step down, in accordance with the DRC's constitution, following credible elections in December 2018, end quote. As the DRC's largest bilateral donor, the United States will continue to support the Congolese people and their efforts to build a better future. We will also continue to support the United Nations Stabilization Force in the DRC. In South Sudan, this man-made conflict has had a devastating effect on the people. Since 2013, the United States has been the largest donor of humanitarian aid, delivering $2.9 billion in emergency humanitarian assistance to the people of South Sudan and to the refugees in the neighboring states. The United States is closely watching the South Sudan ceasefire signed in December of 2017. Our position is clear. The government of South Sudan must provide free, unhindered, and safe access for humanitarian organizations. With our international partners, we are calling on all parties to put down their weapons and to negotiate a permanent end to this conflict. It's time that the people of South Sudan experience the peace and prosperity they deserve. Civil society has a vital role to play to hold these governments accountable. This is critical to the advancement of peace, justice, and prosperity in the DRC and South Sudan. I assure you that you have the full support of the United States. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you. May God bless you and the people of the DRC and South Sudan. Thank you.
And we're going to start with a brief introduction by Sister Judith Pereira, who is the Assistant Executive Director for Solidarity with South Sudan. So Judith, I give the floor to you for a few minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry my voice is not too loud, but I'll try. I have two purposes here, presenting you a little bit of solidarity with South Sudan, and then the video we have done. To introduce solidarity to South Sudan to religious has no purpose because they know it, but some others they don't. Solidarity with South Sudan is a collaborative project that began in 2008, the concrete projects done by both unions of superior generals, USG, UISG, in partnership with the local church responding to their call to build sustainable structures to capacity South Sudanese to build a better society. We do formation of teachers, nurses, and midwives, agricultural people, local, and pastoral agents. The project has 5 communities on the ground who are intercongregational. Many of your congregation's members are there. They are mixed, men and women together, religious, also with lay people, not now, due to the conflict, but normally with lay volunteers, and also of many different nationalities. There are 30 members of 21 congregations and another number like that, 20 nationalities. Each community of each member of each color. So the diversity, the degree of diversity is very high. And this is a testimony witnessing that diversity can build peace. The main message, a part of the service we do to the people in South Sudan and to the church, and we are very happy of this partnership, religious and local church together, is that the model of doing how we do it, being together in such a diversity works. And it's a model for people who are in a tribal problem. It didn't begin as a tribal problem, but it's beginning now. No? People that they don't hate each other. It's just revenge, suffering, hunger, the worst conditions we can imagine. And when our students who are adults, they see the community, they think, well, if these people can live together, we can do it too, no? And when in a location there are conflicts, tribe against another, they say, no, not for us. We are solidarity, we will protect you. So the value is we all live as religious, being together in diversity, building together, working for a beautiful mission. Our students, they pick the same. And we build in them these values. And they gather, and they have them as their own values. We can live together, we can build peace together. And it's a proof, 10-year-old proof. It's not new. The other thing is how it means for religious together, living, working together, how it's a way of developing our own vocation of all Christians to be one. And this is a big witness in wherever, even in peace context, but mostly in war context. Now I will pass to present you the video. Last July I was in South Sudan for some time, and I had the chance to interview South Sudanese of many and different conditions. Girls, students of Sister Orla schools, adults, state workers, teachers, many people. We had some questions. What do you think about peace? What's happening here? What is your call to your government? What is your call to the international community? And people were very free to answer because we guaranteed not their names or identities will be revealed. So they felt free. We brought here just few words, because we couldn't just express like 30 interviews. But there are some common lines in all of them that I received as a gift. First of all, the dignity and the resilience of people who are enduring immense suffering. It's amazing to talk and share and receive their experiences, their hopes, their needs, their calls. A second thing was their faith. I have to confess, when I go to South Sudan, and I go twice or a year and for some time, I was hopeless, saying, this peace process is not going on, the suffering is increasing, where are we going? And I had to hear them to receive that faith and to receive that hope. And I say, okay, I need to talk to you to have even hope in my work, because I don't see it, and you see it, and you are suffering. And the third one was the root of that hope. All of them, with no exception, shared with me that the root of hope is faith. They could only find peace, they could only find hope, force, and strength to go on in their faith. And I, again, received that faith from them. So I think that the video doesn't reflect all that, but it's a gift to be there, to receive from people who are suffering that hope and that faith. This is what we want to bring here in the video.
South Sudan is a very good nation. We love nature and we love humankind. However, evil, the desire for power, and personal interests all together have brought the country to this conflict. Many of our people are suffering from cholera, malaria, and hunger. Many of our children are dying. Thousands of people have been displaced. Our people are now refugees in the neighboring countries, mostly in Uganda. Children are dying of hunger, and women are often raped. This has caused a lot of emotional and psychological trauma for our women. The leaders are the only ones with the power to bring about peace. Now, the people are suffering, so all the citizens must come together to work for peace. We have to end this insecurity. Above all, for women and children. Otherwise, we have no future here. So, we need to forgive our political leaders, and we need to forgive one another, understanding that we are neighbors, we are friends. It is painful, but God says, if you forgive, you will be accepted. South Sudanese must come to be one nation. Living all together can bring about peace. The problem is not only about one tribe ruling over the others, but it is also a fight over the national and natural resources God has blessed us with. As a young South Sudanese, I want to appeal passionately to our political leaders to involve international bodies in the peace process. We need to address objectively the root causes of our problems and consequently arrive at a peaceful and lasting solution. the young people want to be involved in anything and everything that affects our dear nation, as we are the future hope of this nation. As citizens, we have to cry for peace. We have to say to our leaders that many of our children have lost their parents, killed during the conflict. It is important that these children attend school. But if we continue with the killings, they cannot attend school, and as such, our nation will not grow. As young people, we want to live in peace with one another, without discriminating against anyone. This is the only way to reach peace and live as one united nation. For this reason, we have to work together, young and old, men and women. We need to stop fighting for power and material things and work together as good Christians for the good of everyone. We are all one, brothers and sisters, people of one nation, our South Sudan.
I would like to thank you for the making of this video, to the personnel of the office who put words together, to Ana Sanchez-Boira who put the images and the video, and to Paul Jeffrey who is always donating his photographs. That's why we have such good ones. So we always give him the credit and thank him for the pictures.
Thank you very much, Judith. Our next speaker is Sister Orla Tracy. She's the principal of the Loreto School in Rumbek in South Sudan. She's been there for 11 years. And last year, 2017, she was awarded the Hugh O'Flaherty International Humanitarian Award, which is a prestigious prize from Ireland. So she's going to speak to us about her work and what she sees in South Sudan. Orla.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Your Eminence, honourable guests, fathers, sisters, brothers and friends. I'm very happy to be with you here this afternoon and to share with you a little of my life in South Sudan. I confess that this is a very personal story that I want to share with you. I've left out all the facts and figures. Maybe some of my colleagues may talk a little bit more on that later. When I was making my final profession some years ago, I was invited to choose a motto for my ring. I chose an expression which was used by our foundress, Mary Ward: love and speak the truth. It has its roots in St. Paul to the Ephesians. I was full of idealism. I made my profession 3 months before I moved to South Sudan. I believed in fighting injustice, in standing up for the truth. I believed in living peacefully and in helping those who are victims. I can definitely say that South Sudan has challenged every fibre of my being. And my motto on my ring, this challenging unjust systems, it became a clearer reality for me. In South Sudan, we live in a time of war, a time of hunger, and a time when one might wonder about human rights. There is much injustice, but for me, working with young people, and girls in particular, the greatest injustice we face each day is the issue of forced marriage. And this is the fight I want to talk with you about today, and the challenges that I experience with it. Rebecca Alec was a student with us and she was a candidate for the government exams. She was 4 months away from graduating when her father came to visit. Her father never came to visit. But he wanted to take her home for a family meeting. Rebecca was happy to go and she left, but sadly she never returned to school. We heard in the days after that she was given a choice of 3 men. She chose the man she loved, but her extended family wasn't happy with her choice, and she was being forced to marry another. When news of this arrangement reached the school, her class were very upset. They were full of rage, and they really challenged me. What was I going to do? I asked them, what could I do? One student told me that if I didn't do something about it, we might as well close down our school. Because if one parent gets away with it, all the other parents will think it's okay. It was clear we had to act before the deed was sealed. So we went. We drove over 3 hours to her home, and when we got there, we were told she was already brought to her husband's house. We went to the husband's house, and we were met by a very hostile crowd. They had guns, and they were angry. They were worried about our agenda. But finally, we were given permission to visit Rebecca. She was in a hut, armed guards at the door, and women were all around her. They feared that she might run away or that another man might come and take her. It was a shocking scene for me. I had heard of forced and arranged marriages, but I had never experienced it up close. Rebecca herself was hysterical. She talked of suicide. She told us how she had been tied up, beaten, and brought to the man's house. We could do little except reassure her that we were with her. We talked with the man's family, we talked with him. We pleaded that at least they allow her to return to finish her exams. They were very polite. We went back to school very differently, but still hopeful that Rebecca could at least come back and finish her studies. The days and weeks passed, and Rebecca never came back. We called, we visited, we phoned the husband, but she never came back to finish her exams. And then there's another story. There's Jennifer. Jennifer was our former head girl. She stayed on to work with us in the office as our secretary. She's a brilliant student with a great future in English, perhaps as a teacher or as a journalist. She contacted me that Christmas, 5 months before she was going to go to university. Her father had accepted cows for her wedding, and she was to marry. She was very upset, as it meant an end to her dreams for study. We were able to contact the university, and they accepted her in January, just 3 weeks later. Jennifer's father surprisingly did accept for Jennifer to go to university. It was wonderful. We were so delighted. Jennifer was 20 years of age, really challenging the traditional practices. 2 weeks after Jennifer started her university course, she was informed that her 15-year-old sister was given to the same man in marriage. Remember, Jennifer's father had accepted the cows, which meant someone had to marry the man. Rebecca's marriage was my first taste of forced marriage, and it left a very bitter taste that still lingers with me. I thought I would simply go there, talk to the family, and get her out. It never happened. But we didn't let Rebecca's case go. We decided that we needed to protect every girl. And so now every student that comes to our secondary school must have a consent form signed by her family. This is an agreement that families will not force their daughters out of school due to forced marriage. It doesn't protect everyone, and still each year we have problems with families. We've been threatened through phone calls, verbal abuse, and even at gunpoint. Sometimes we have won, but often we have lost these cases. And then there's Jennifer's case. Where was the justice in it? We thought we were great fighting for Jennifer. But when her 15-year-old sister was given in marriage, who did we really help? And did we really help? I told myself we did our best. Jennifer's sister wasn't our student. Each year in our school, we lose about 2% of our girls through forced marriage. It's not bad when you think of the national average for marriage. 52% of 18-year-old girls are married in South Sudan, while 17% of girls are married under 15 years. This is a cultural practice. It involves family, and girls in our areas are married for a cow dowry, anywhere between 220 and 300 cows. When I came to South Sudan in 2006, it was a country full of hope. The peace agreement had just been signed, and there was possibilities of a better life. 2011 was special. Independence brought a pride and a joy to all. But sadly, it didn't last long. In our poverty and in our hunger, we cling to tradition and cultural practices. We have more guns, more violence, more crimes against women, and people are hungry everywhere. Neighbours are fighting one another all over the country. You may ask, where do the guns come from? Who is funding it? What do they want? I don't know Salva Kiir, or Paul Malong, or Riek Machar. I don't know the inner politics of the situation. But I know the reality of our girls, and our fight is for them, for the hope of a better future, for the dream of educated women who can slowly help to change their own culture. Forced marriage has become that fight for us. Our late bishop used to say to us, keep focused on the work you're here to do. The needs are great and you can't do everything. This has helped me in my journey and in my work. When I started out on this road, I had romantic ideas as to how I was going to help bring about change, how I was going to stand tall in the face of abuse and injustice, how I was going to speak the truth. I confess one of the greatest challenges I have personally faced in dealing with is my own limitations. There have been times when in challenging the system, I've had to learn to run very fast and hide. I don't challenge our politicians. I don't challenge the local gunmen. I have stuck with one cause, and I try to do what I can for the girls. The words on my ring, love and speak the truth, are a daily challenge to me. I have learned that to speak the truth, I must first love, and then find the truth. The truth is not always my truth, but God's truth. That truth is not always success, but love is constant. Others travel with us on that road, and we continue to try and challenge the unjust system. Prayer has become my anchor, though I confess prayers of passion and suffering seem more real and more apt than the Easter stories of resurrection. Finding God in all is not something sophisticated, but we look for God in the simple, ordinary moments. In the current crisis in South Sudan, girls as young as 13 years of age are now being forced into marriage, as families struggle to survive, to have enough food and medicines. Marrying off a young daughter is a source of income to a family, and in a crisis, people do what they need to survive. But we don't give up hope. There is still work to be done, and we have other students to protect. We cling to the hope of better days, of loving and speaking the truth, of trusting in the Lord, and for us, of fighting for one girl at a time, one step at a time. I speak today from my experience in South Sudan, but I ask you to consider from your own culture the injustices that you experience and that you know about. What injustices can you try and take a step to challenge? What people or person can you reach out to and help? Let's put our hands together to make a change, one step at a time, one person at a time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Orla. In his introduction, you heard the Cardinal use the word non-violence and just peace, and you also heard him say that conflict is not abstract. Conflict is about people. In other words, conflict is concrete. And I think what you've just heard from Orla is a very concrete exposition of violence, the opposite of non-violence, of conflict, of the opposite of just peace, whatever the opposite of just peace is, unjust non-peace. Very concrete indeed. You didn't hear her talking much about groups of armed people fighting each other, but you heard her talking about the lack of peace in South Sudan. Our next speaker is a South Sudanese priest, Father Maurice Ibiko, who's currently studying in Louvain in Belgium, studying theology, I believe. Yes, theology. He's here representing his bishop, who couldn't be here because of another one of those great injustices in the world, visas. So Father Maurice will be speaking to us about peace and war in South Sudan. It makes me realize how old I am when I realize his bishop, who he's representing, was my student many, many years ago. So there we are.
His Eminence Peter Turkson, the Prefect of the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development, the bishops present, the Superior Generals, and you all brothers and sisters, I bring you immense greetings from the people of South Sudan. Allow me also to give you a sincere apologies of my bishop, the Right Reverend Eduardo Hiporokusala, who was invited to come and take part in this conference, but he could not because of visa issues. So please kindly accept his apologies. And who is my neighbor? And who is my neighbor? This question posed by an expert of the Lord Jesus continues to confront us as the church in South Sudan. The question painfully confronts us when we see massive death, suffering, and misery orchestrated by human beings against their fellow human beings on the basis of ethnicity or political differences. The suffering and misery in South Sudan are man-made. On the one hand, as church leaders, there are times when we feel discouraged or even frustrated. We ask ourselves, how have we not done it? Why have we not done it well? Or have we labored in vain? Especially when the architects and the perpetrators of division and violence are members of our Christian communities or have passed through our Catholic schools. Nonetheless, on the one hand, we take it as a challenge to even work harder, to lower our nets into the deep waters for a catch. We still believe that at the heart of the conflict and bloodshed in South Sudan is the lack of or the wrong answer given to the question that I've asked from the beginning, and who is my neighbor? And we therefore have a responsibility as a church to contribute to the formation of the correct intuition and answer to this question. We are aware that the aim of pastoral activities, as gleaned from church documents, is the transformation of the person and society into a new life according to the pattern of Christ. Although we believe that the transformation of heart is the work of God, we nonetheless, as human agents collaborating in this work, have our part to contribute. So it is in light of this that we have formulated pastoral considerations for the healing and reconciliation that is needed to live in peace in South Sudan. Number one, admittedly, we have active and vibrant Christian communities in our parishes, but which we need to consolidate in the life of faith, hope, and charity. And we can do this in the following ways. First, we have to be attentive and sensitive and responsive to the needs of different groups and members of our Christian communities, so that everybody will feel at home, will feel at peace. And this environment will enable people to speak out their ordeals, and then we can be able to help them. Once our communities are bound together, there will be no room for divisive policies to infiltrate and to sow seeds of division and hatred and violence. Secondly, we have to continue to be purposeful and focused. Our activities, even when they are social in nature, are not to be like those of other organizations and agencies which are active on the ground. Our activities must be distinct because they lead to an encounter with Christ, who invites us to a life of relationship with Him and with others. Thirdly, we must constantly look at ourselves as a missionary church, and that this mission is given to all the baptized. Once we are fully involved in this missionary mandate, we shall disseminate the much-needed Christian values, not only through our Justice and Peace and Reconciliation offices, but it will be a movement of diverse groups going out with power into the society and elevate the society with these values that we seek. However, the challenges before us are, do we have the capacity as the church, as the local church in South Sudan, in terms of trained personnel and the resources to carry out this mandate, to send people out into mission and actually sustain them? The second pastoral consideration that we have to enable us to live in peace and unity in South Sudan is to broaden our pastoral contacts and platforms to include government and civil institutions. This involves setting up Catholic chaplaincy in the army, in the parliament, in the universities, in colleges, in schools, in hospitals, and other organizations. Most of our parish communities are comprised of simple, ordinary folks who live very peaceful and very harmoniously. In most cases, the conflict that erupt have their sources from elements in the politics of the country, or in the military, or among those involved in tribal or ethnic leaderships. As church, we need to have more engagement with these people at their various levels of preoccupations, their developments, and their needs. Setting up these pastoral contacts and platforms will require adequate training of pastoral agencies, both ordained and the laity. Our third pastoral consideration is the integral pastoral vision. The thrust of all pastoral programs ought to be the liberation of the human person so that they might have life and have it to the full. So there is to be no dichotomy then between the pastoral and the social programs. Our social projects are vehicles of evangelization. Through our social activities, we have, and we can still continue to empower more people so that they can become instruments of honesty, dignity, peace, and unity. Our schools particularly are not only to be centers of knowledge, but they must above all be places where a new culture and a new attitude are cultivated. Our fourth pastoral consideration is the formation of youth movements for peace and justice. South Sudan has a young population. More than 50% of the population is predominantly, however, uneducated. They have no skills, no jobs, and therefore no income. They are full of energy, have dreams, aspirations, and are searching for ways how to better their lives. Regrettably, however, this huge population of the uneducated and unemployed young people has become a strategic reservoir of the politicians from which they tap into their armed groups. We need to have more pastoral programs targeting the young people to unite and forge them into a movement of justice, peace, and reconciliation in the society. The fifth pastoral consideration we have is to commit ourselves to being present. The situation of South Sudan calls us to be present with the people in their different locations and in their difficult situations. It is only by being present that we can also be able to work with other actors who are doing committed work. It's only in this way that we can effectively reform the conscience of the people and build up a God-fearing society. We have to continue to walk with the people with our feet in the mud as they strive to make sense of their faith in their own predicaments. By being present, we have already been able to be at the center of the search for peace and justice and reconciliation. We have been courageous in prophetic calls. We have reached out to aggrieved groups and communities. We have dared to trek in the wild bushes of South Sudan to establish contacts with armed groups, and we have bridged tensions between individuals and communities. Notably is Bishop Paride Taban's work in Eastern Equatoria and Bishop Eduardo Iboro Kusala, who has done also the same and continues to do in the Western Equatoria state. We have mitigated conflicts by our peace initiatives. We have empowered people through our social projects. We have touched people's lives in incredible ways. We take it as a divine call incumbent on us to continue on this path until we shall reach a reconciled and peaceful South Sudan. The weight of these challenges does assail us daily and presses us down, but not to the point of being overwhelmed. We are strong because we constantly feel strengthened by the Lord and, of course, by your prayers. We never run out of air of confidence and comfort because we are surrounded by such a great magnitude of goodwill people as friends and collaborators. We remain strong in faith in the hope that it is possible to achieve a reconciled, just and peaceful South Sudan, where the waters of baptism will be thicker than the blood that runs through our veins, that the common good will be placed above personal, tribal, or ethnic interests, and that the right and adequate answer to the question, and who is my neighbor, will be given not only on the lips, but in the hearts of every South Sudanese. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Father Morris. Let's move straight on, and we're privileged to have with us Professor Giovanni Flick, Professor Emeritus of the Italian Constitutional Court, a former Italian Minister of Justice, and Professor Emeritus of Criminal Law. He is an experienced Italian jurist, scientist, journalist, and politician. And I think we've heard from within South Sudan. We're now going to hear some of the more international implications. And we're going to give a few extra moments to the professor, a little bit longer than the other talks, in recognition of the special expertise he brings us. So welcome, Professor.
La mia riflessione cerca di vedere i collegamenti tra l'insegnamento pontificio sulla pace e la traduzione di questo insegnamento nei principi fondamentali della Costituzione del mio Paese e di molti altri Paesi. La prima riflessione su come mantenere la pace si trova nell'enciclica fondamentale La Pacem in Terris di Giovanni XXIII del 1963. L'enciclica riguarda tutti, non soltanto i pastori e i fedeli, ma tutti gli uomini di buona volontà. L'universalità di questo messaggio esprime una laicità che coinvolge anche chi sia fuori dalla comunità ecclesiale. È un appello all'uomo, alla sua identità, alla sua coscienza e alla sua responsabilità, anche quando non sia credente. L'universalità dell'insegnamento della Pacem in Terris si coglie poi nella equiparazione tra le persone e le comunità politiche nazionali e mondiali. I valori e le regole che devono informare i rapporti degli uomini fra di loro sono gli stessi valori e regole che devono informare i rapporti tra le varie comunità. Tutti sono tenuti a portare il loro specifico contributo a realizzare il bene comune e la pace. Tutti sono ugualmente soggetti di diritti e doveri, gli uomini e i paesi, gli uomini, le donne e i paesi, diritti e doveri che nascono dalla dignità e dall'eguaglianza tra le persone. Tutti sono impegnati a regolare i rapporti reciproci nella verità, nella giustizia, nella solidarietà operante e nella libertà, soprattutto oggi per affrontare gli sviluppi patologici e troppo settoriali della globalizzazione. La seconda riflessione, di fronte alla tragedia del Sud Sudan e agli interrogativi che pone alla coscienza di tutti noi, anche di chi sta nelle società del benessere, riguarda i diritti e i doveri che scaturiscono dalla dignità umana nei rapporti tra persona e poteri pubblici. L'accentuarsi degli squilibri economici, sociali e culturali richiede di adeguare lo sviluppo economico al progresso sociale, di instaurare fra i vari paesi, non soltanto a parole, rapporti di collaborazione che valgano a superare le sperequazioni abnormi nella disponibilità di risorse naturali ed umane, di accrescere la cooperazione tra le comunità economicamente sviluppate e quelle in via di sviluppo. Penso alle esortazioni dell'enciclica La Casa Comune di Francesco. Occorrono nuovi valori, nuove regole, nuove istituzioni che esprimano una capacità globale pari almeno alla capacità globalizzante dell'economia e dell'informazione. Altrimenti, o prima o dopo, e forse prima che dopo, ci troveremo ad adorare non già il vitello d'oro, come fecero gli ebrei nel loro percorso verso la terra promessa, ma l'algoritmo d'oro e il profitto d'oro della globalizzazione. I progressi sconvolgenti della scienza e della tecnica sollecitano una collaborazione e una convivenza di ordine sociale. Nessuna comunità può pensare di perseguire i suoi interessi e di svilupparsi chiudendosi in se stessa, la fortezza Europa del benessere ad esempio, perché il grado della sua prosperità e del suo sviluppo sono un riflesso e sono una componente dello sviluppo e della prosperità delle altre comunità. Le controversie fra i popoli non possono essere risolte col ricorso alla forza e alle armi, il diritto della forza anziché la forza del diritto. La terza riflessione riguarda la stretta relazione che vi è fra i diritti fondamentali e i doveri inderogabili insiti nella natura umana. Si fondano sulla dignità della persona, sull'eguaglianza che ne deriva e sono perciò universali e inviolabili, diritti e doveri, mentre noi siamo abituati a parlare solo di diritti e non di doveri. L'attenzione ai diritti fondamentali è una chiave di volta per rispondere agli interrogativi angosciosi proposti dalla globalizzazione. Le guerre e il terrorismo globale e quello locale rappresentano uno dei tanti possibili esiti dello sviluppo perverso di certi aspetti della globalizzazione. La pace scaturisce dall'attuazione di quei diritti e di quei doveri. Si esprime in una convivenza fondata non su rapporti di forza, in contrasto con la pari dignità umana, ma sul riconoscimento dei reciproci diritti e doveri, sulla giustizia, il rispetto dei diritti e adempimento dei doveri, sulla solidarietà, la promozione dei diritti altrui, sulla libertà, che è anche e soprattutto capacità di assumere responsabilità. L'ultima riflessione della Pacem in Terris è la più attuale. La pace in terra, anelito profondo degli esseri umani di tutti i tempi, in contrasto con il destino altrimenti inevitabile del disordine fra essi e fra i popoli, quasi che i loro rapporti non possano essere regolati che per mezzo della forza. Chi ha il pulsante più grosso da schiacciare in occasione di un conflitto nucleare che è sempre più un pericolo incombente sul nostro mondo. La pace non è soltanto assenza di guerra. Nel suo significato positivo propone per il rapporto tra le comunità politiche la stessa base della convivenza fra le persone. Non possiamo rassegnarci alla pace solo come non guerra e all'affermazione si vis pacem para bellum, quella che era nel Tempio consacrato dai Romani al dio Giano Bifronte, che da un lato aveva le porte della pace e dall'altro le porte della guerra. Perché da tutto ciò nasce l'incentivo per la corsa agli armamenti, per l'equilibrio del terrore e per la legge del più forte. Si vis pacem para pacem, non para bellum. La vera pace, come dice l'enciclica, fondata sulla vicendevole fiducia e sul disarmo integrale degli spiriti, è un obiettivo realizzabile, concreto e ragionevole, a condizione che si realizzi quella convivenza fra comunità secondo verità, giustizia, solidarietà e libertà, che solo attraverso questi passaggi possono risolversi i problemi drammatici che la globalizzazione propone nel suo sviluppo alla nostra attenzione. Ora la guerra per imporre la democrazia, la cosiddetta ingerenza umanitaria, magari attraverso le bombe intelligenti, e per imporre un nuovo assetto geopolitico. Poi la guerra contro i cosiddetti stati canaglia che appoggiano il terrorismo. Ancora la guerra fra i ricchi e la guerra con i poveri per il controllo delle risorse energetiche, infine la guerra per il cibo e per l'acqua, mentre continuiamo a discutere sulle sottili distinzioni fra la guerra in sé, quella giusta, quella legale, quella legittima, quella consentita. Questa è la prospettiva, sembra la prospettiva di un futuro la cui unica alternativa è rappresentata dalla pace di cui parla l'enciclica. Naturalmente la pace ha un costo in termini di rinunzia e di sacrificio del proprio diritto che richiama l'esigenza di solidarietà. Non è mai un edificio solido e compatto, è da custodire e da ricostruire con infinita pazienza, con il coraggio delle proclamazioni profetiche, con la consapevolezza non già di sradicare, ma più realisticamente di moderare l'aggressività immanente nella vicenda umana. L'insegnamento della Pacem in Terris di Giovanni XXIII era stato anticipato da una lapidaria espressione di Benedetto XV, che definì la guerra una inutile strage. È stato ribadito da tutti i loro successori. Paolo VI ci ha ricordato che la pace non si costruisce solo con l'equilibrio delle forze e degli interessi, ma con lo spirito, le idee, le opere della pace, e che oltre a nutrire gli affamati occorre assicurare ad essi e a ciascun uomo una vita conforme alla sua dignità, soprattutto ai cosiddetti diversi, a quelli che di dignità in concreto ne hanno meno di chi sta bene. Giovanni Paolo II ha ribadito con vigore mai più la guerra per evitare un destino altrimenti ineluttabile di distruzione del mondo e dell'umanità e ha aggiunto che non c'è pace senza giustizia, superando le alchimie e le argomentazioni giuridiche della ragion di Stato e della guerra giusta. Benedetto XVI, accanto alla preghiera per Gerusalemme, città della pace, una preghiera particolarmente attuale alla luce delle vicende politiche di Gerusalemme, ha richiamato la corsa agli armamenti e l'aumento delle spese militari a tutto discapito degli interventi per lo sviluppo dei paesi poveri. Ha posto in evidenza l'esplosione del terrorismo e della criminalità internazionale in un contesto di fondamentalismi e di fanatismo. Da ultimo, Papa Francesco guarda in particolare ai problemi delle migrazioni a causa di conflitti armati, di violenze, di miseria, di degrado ambientale e alla necessità di rispondere loro con l'accoglienza, soprattutto da parte di un'Europa che finora ha saputo soltanto offrire a chi arrivava fili spinati e ricostruzione dei muri e delle barriere. Si tratta di rispondere con l'accoglienza, con la protezione, con la promozione dello sviluppo umano di migranti e rifugiati, con l'integrazione di essi in una dinamica di arricchimento reciproco, superando le logiche dell'emergenza e soprattutto della paura, spesso strumentalizzata politicamente. Ho partecipato all'esperienza italiana sotto l'aspetto dell'approfondimento culturale come professore e di quello istituzionale come Ministro della Giustizia e poi come giudice del Tribunale dei diritti fondamentali, e ho colto in quell'esperienza numerosi spunti al tempo stesso di principio e concreti in sintonia con gli spunti che, come dicevo poco fa, ritengo si debbano trarre dalla dottrina cattolica dopo la Pacem Terris. Abbiamo una Costituzione nel nostro Paese che è stata scritta dai rappresentanti del popolo dopo una guerra perduta e dopo una guerra civile in un paese distrutto e da ricostruire. Quella Costituzione è entrata in vigore nel 1947, ricorre in questi giorni il 70° anniversario di esso, definisce i diritti e i doveri che ne discendono e l'ordinamento della Repubblica per la loro attuazione. Nell'articolo 2 quella Costituzione afferma che la Repubblica garantisce i diritti inviolabili e richiede l'adempimento dei doveri inderogabili di solidarietà politica, economica e sociale. Nell'articolo 3 afferma che tutti i cittadini hanno pari dignità sociale, sono uguali di fronte alla legge senza distinzioni di sesso, di razza, di lingua, di religione, di opinioni politiche, di condizioni personali. L'articolo 10 parifica gli stranieri e i cittadini. Questa Costituzione è stata scritta quando in Italia eravamo emigranti per ricercare lavoro e per non morire di fame. Vale a maggior ragione adesso che da paese di emigranti siamo diventati un paese che può accogliere i migranti. E l'articolo 3 aggiunge proprio, con un'indicazione che sembra pari pari ricavata dalle encicliche, che è compito della Repubblica, cioè di tutti, rimuovere gli ostacoli di ordine economico-sociale che limitano la libertà e l'eguaglianza e impediscono il pieno sviluppo della persona. Infine, articolo 11 della Costituzione, l'articolo 10 equipara cittadini e stranieri per il diritto di asilo. L'articolo 11 dice che l'Italia ripudia la guerra come strumento di offesa alla libertà degli altri popoli e come mezzo di risoluzione delle controversie internazionali. Ripudia, non rifiuta. È un verbo che nel nostro linguaggio ha un significato molto più forte. Vi è in queste affermazioni, mi sembra, di dignità, di eguaglianza, di libertà, di solidarietà, di sviluppo della personalità, di accettazione della diversità, di tutte le diversità, di ripudio della guerra e di cooperazione internazionale, un'indicazione precisa e vincolante in applicazione delle indicazioni delle encicliche per mantenere la pace nella giustizia, naturalmente a condizione che queste indicazioni vengano tradotte da principi astratti a leggi e regole concrete di condotta per lo Stato e per i consociati, nonché a condizione che vengano applicate effettivamente da tutti, secondo la propria capacità, la propria posizione, la propria responsabilità sociale. E questa mi sembra, e concludo chiedendo scusa se ho preso forse più tempo di quello che mi era consentito, una sintesi che mi sembra efficace delle condizioni necessarie per collocare la persona, i suoi diritti e i suoi doveri al centro della convivenza sociale, per rendere la convivenza sociale e il suo sviluppo compatibili con la dignità e con la centralità della persona, per individuare le linee essenziali dei rapporti fra paesi e comunità sovranazionale, per indurci a ricordare il Sud Sudan e per indurre a ricordarlo uomini e paesi che lo hanno dimenticato. Grazie.
My name is Sister Sheila Kinsey, and I am the co-executive secretary of the JPIC Commission for USG and UISG, for religious men and women. And it was my privilege to be a part of the discussion that put together this video that we will show you on the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Atandele mokili moko baluka baya ya baye baka atandele mokili moko ningana Nzambe aye baka atandele molindo akopita bendele bandiku atandele 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 Mokolo masuka mbula ekobeta Mokolo masuka kake ekobeta Baye bakufaka kufa ya Nzambe bakosekwa Baye bakufaka kufa ya Satana bakosekwa Milimu ya baye bakufakala ekosekwa Soki toteki Afrika na babaya bakolo samisa atandele 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 Mokolo masuka mbula ekobeta Somba parapluie Ngolo masuka o kake kobeta Bai bakufaka kufaya nzambe bakusekwa o Bai bakufaka kufaya satana bakusekwa o Milimu ya bayi bakufakala ekosekwa o Soki toteki Afrika na bapaya bakolo sambisa o Atandele 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 Atandele
Bonsoir à tous et toutes. Cette présentation, ce documentaire en images nous a déjà dit beaucoup de choses. En février 2003, il y a 15 ans déjà, à l'occasion du Forum social européen qui se tenait à Saint-Denis en France, au nord de Paris, une de nos collègues et amies, dont on a vu la photo tout à l'heure, Mathilde Muhindo de Bukavu, nous a présenté, et c'était pour moi la première fois, la situation des femmes au Sud Kivu, avec des dizaines de milliers de viols systématiques, qui nous a conduit à comprendre que ce n'était pas simplement des viols ordinaires, mais une stratégie de guerre pensée pour détruire une population, détruire la capacité de résistance d'une population. C'était il y a 15 ans. C'était à la fin de ce que je crois qu'on appelle la deuxième guerre du Congo, 3 700 000 morts. Là, on vient de lire 7 millions de morts. Où va-t-on? Et les raisons pour lesquelles la situation du Congo et celle que l'on vient de voir ont été décrites, et ce n'est pas l'objet de notre table ronde ce soir. Nous sommes là pour réfléchir au rôle que nous jouons, que nous devons continuer à jouer pour promouvoir la paix. L'affiche qui est là, très belle, nous disons non à la guerre, oui à la paix. Et pour nous aider à réfléchir et à avancer, puisque nous sommes en chemin, en novembre dernier, comme ça a déjà été rappelé, nous avons prié à Saint-Pierre avec le Saint-Père pour la paix. Avant, beaucoup de choses faites, et à partir de ce soir et demain, encore beaucoup d'autres à faire. Donc nous sommes là pour nous mobiliser ensemble. Et nous avons à cette table ronde autour de nous 3 personnes, dont 2 viennent du Congo avec une expérience de terrain importante, et une nous vient de plus près, de la secrétaire d'État ici. Nous allons les écouter. Nous sommes en retard, il est 7h moins 25, mais nous allons prendre le temps, j'espère que vous avez le temps. Le premier intervenant est le père Bernard Hugeux, qui est missionnaire d'Afrique. On me dit ici qu'il a passé 20 ans en République démocratique du Congo, mais tout à l'heure, je l'ai entendu dire qu'il était professeur à Calémier en 1973, donc je pense qu'il a un peu plus d'expérience du Congo. Le père Bernard accompagne beaucoup de personnes sur un plan spirituel, anime des retraites, écrit. C'est un militant des droits de l'homme et il coordonne un projet aujourd'hui qui est celui de la réponse compassionnelle aux victimes d'abus sexuels. Il va nous parler, puisqu'on est là pour ça, de la paix et de comment se construit la paix à partir de soi-même, la paix personnelle. La parole est à toi.
Je mets soigneusement ma montre devant moi pour respecter mes 8 minutes. Éminence, Excellence, frères et sœurs, bonsoir. Oui, on a dit donc qu'actuellement je suis encore au Congo depuis pas mal de temps et depuis une dizaine d'années je m'occupe de l'accueil des personnes victimes de violences sexuelles dans l'est du Congo à Bukavu. Et je collabore également avec la commission Justice et Paix de l'Union internationale des supérieurs générales et supérieurs généraux dans la formation des consacrés à l'accueil, aux soins et à la réintégration des victimes de violences. Et c'est à ce titre que j'interviens. Je suis effectivement arrivé au Congo, qui était à ce moment-là, qui est devenu le Zaïre en 1971, mais entre-temps, j'ai eu d'autres activités hors du Congo. Je voudrais évoquer l'engagement unique de l'Église, et particulièrement des consacrés, dans l'accompagnement des victimes sur le terrain et la poursuite des agresseurs. Et j'évoquerai aussi le lien que je considère comme indissociable entre compassion, indignation et solidarité, ou si vous voulez, compassion, justice et ecclésialité. Seul chemin, je pense, pour poursuivre et promouvoir une paix juste en RDC. Et tout d'abord, je voudrais rendre hommage au nombre incalculable de femmes congolaises qui ont été victimes de violences et qui ont fait preuve d'un courage et d'une foi extraordinaires qui ont déjà été évoqués précédemment. Sans oublier d'ailleurs aussi les enfants et un certain nombre d'hommes qui ont été victimes de ces violences. Et ils sont vraiment un exemple vivant de la confiance en Dieu et de la résilience. Je pense aussi à la conférence épiscopale nationale congolaise et à toutes ces prises de position pour la justice et la paix et au courage que les évêques ont montré. Également tous les catholiques consacrés, laïcs, qui se battent pour la justice et la paix. Et enfin, je voudrais évoquer ici le pape François, qui a évoqué notre pays le 23 novembre 2017 lors de la soirée de prière dédiée au Soudan du Sud et à la RDC. Et mon intervention de ce soir s'inscrit dans ce qu'il a affirmé ce soir-là et que nous vivons tous les jours sur le terrain. Quelle hypocrisie de nier les massacres de femmes et d'enfants. Là, la guerre montre son visage le plus horrible. Et il a aussi prié pour les femmes victimes de violences dans les zones de guerre et en toute partie du monde, et les enfants qui souffrent en raison de conflits auxquels ils sont étrangers, mais qui volent leur enfance et parfois aussi leur vie. Et ce soir, je veux affirmer ma profonde conviction qu'à ce propos, l'Église peut faire la différence pour promouvoir une paix juste au nom de l'Évangile. Et c'est à partir d'une expérience vécue récemment dans le cadre de la formation des consacrés par l'Union internationale des supérieurs générales que je vais développer cette conviction. Mon premier point, c'est l'apport irremplaçable des consacrés dans le combat contre les violences basées sur le genre. Je précise qu'une partie de ce que je vais dire s'applique également à des laïcs engagés, et bien sûr, je mets dans les consacrés les prêtres diocésains et tous ceux qui sont engagés dans le cadre des Caritas ou de Justice et Paix. Mais je voudrais tirer un certain nombre de leçons de cette expérience de formation. En mai 2016, une ministre du gouvernement britannique a demandé à rencontrer la commission Justice et Paix de l'Union internationale des supérieurs générales et généraux à Rome. Elle avait fait un séjour dans le Nord Kivu et avait été impressionnée par le degré d'implication des consacrés dans le domaine des violences dans cette région, de la lutte contre ces violences. Et c'est pourquoi elle a demandé officiellement que les religieux aident son gouvernement à diffuser au Congo et dans les Grands Lacs un document qui s'appelle le Protocole international sur la documentation et l'investigation de la violence sexuelle dans les conflits. Donc un protocole pour poursuivre les prédateurs. En octobre de la même année, il a été décidé d'organiser une formation pour les consacrés engagés dans ce domaine. Et en avril 2017, j'étais responsable de cette formation. 4 jours ont été dédiés à une approche pastorale et psychospirituelle et 2 à la présentation de ce protocole par des experts du gouvernement britannique. Une quarantaine de consacrés et de prêtres diocésains activement engagés dans l'accueil des victimes provenant du Congo, du Rwanda et du Burundi y ont participé. Il s'agissait donc d'une expérience pilote. Et je me suis posé la question, comment se fait-il qu'une ministre d'un gouvernement qui n'est pas forcément très catholique s'adresse ainsi à des consacrés catholiques pour une telle démarche? Et c'est ici que je crois que les consacrés font la différence, même si certaines ONG font du bon travail et sont parfois meilleures professionnellement. La première chose, c'est que les consacrés viennent du milieu de la population et des cultures. Ils ont l'expérience directe du terrain à partir de leur propre famille ou, dans le cas des missionnaires, à partir de leur travail d'acculturation et d'enracinement. Ils sont ensuite engagés à vie et non pas pour un projet ponctuel, comme le sont bien souvent les ONG. Ils sont supportés par des communautés de consacrés, par les paroisses, et travaillent dans une continuité, sans être des francs-tireurs. Le réseau des consacrés de l'Église catholique est le plus dense de toute la RDC. Et on peut dire que les unions des supérieurs majeurs, nationales et diocésaines, les commissions justice et paix et la Caritas tissent en fait un maillage complet du territoire et à une diffusion unique des informations et des interventions sur le terrain, parfois dans des lieux inaccessibles. Les consacrés ont également une longue formation spirituelle et humaine qui leur donne une crédibilité particulière. Et pour les gens, bien sûr, leur consécration les fait bénéficier d'une confiance a priori. Et puis, et au-dessus de tout cela, leur modèle d'engagement est celui de Jésus-Christ. Leur fondement est l'Évangile, avec l'appui de la doctrine sociale de l'Église, et leur source est leur vie de prière sacramentelle. Et ce dernier point est essentiel, car quand on est confronté au quotidien au mal absolu que représentent les horribles violences perpétrées tous les jours dans notre pays sur les femmes et les enfants, on ne peut tenir sans puiser chaque jour la force dans la contemplation de la croix du Christ en qui tout est déjà accompli. Mon deuxième point, c'est que dans l'engagement de l'Église, nous ne pouvons pas dissocier compassion, indignation et solidarité. Je crois qu'un chrétien engagé à la suite du Christ pour la justice et la paix doit marcher sur ses 2 jambes et utiliser ses 2 mains, la compassion et l'indignation. Et en outre, il doit toujours agir en Église, d'où l'importance de la solidarité. Ces 3 dimensions me paraissent indissociables et c'est ce que je retrouve d'ailleurs dans le nouveau dicaster pour le service du développement humain intégral, ainsi que dans la récente déclaration de Dakar de Caritas Afrique. À propos de la compassion, dans la formation donnée à Goma, nous avons retrouvé dans nos partages d'expériences, nous étions tous des gens de terrain, les convictions du pape François concernant une église comme hôpital de campagne et des consacrés présents aux périphéries et prenant l'odeur de leurs troupeaux. Dans une hymne du Bréviaire en français, on chante « Qui donc est Dieu qu'on peut si fort blesser en blessant l'homme ?» Et l'abbé Pierre, bien connu en France, disait « Aimer, c'est quand tu souffres, j'ai mal ». Il s'agit donc de refuser la banalisation du mal, l'indifférence et le mépris de la femme. Certes, il nous faut pleurer avec ceux qui pleurent, mais aussi et surtout chercher des solutions concrètes et agir. C'est pourquoi la vraie compassion n'est pas seulement de l'empathie pour une victime, ce n'est que le point de départ, mais c'est une recherche de moyens concrets pour permettre aux victimes de reconstruire l'estime de soi et retrouver leur autonomie et leur identité sociale. Cela demande des soins médicaux et psychologiques, mais je dirais cela demande aussi de la tendresse, de la miséricorde, beaucoup de temps d'écoute et de patience gratuite. en même temps que l'accompagnement spirituel. Et ça rejoint ce que demandait le pape François dans sa lettre apostolique adressée aux consacrés et dans Misericordiae Vultus à propos du jubilé de la miséricorde. L'indignation. On a parfois reproché aux groupes de prière catholiques de limiter leur engagement à des prières de guérison et des actes de charité qui n'iraient pas jusqu'à la racine de l'injustice et de la souffrance. Il faut prier, certes, mais il ne suffit pas de soigner ou de prier pour les victimes, il faut agir de façon à ce qu'il n'y ait plus de victimes. Or, tout se passe en RDC comme si trop de gens ne veulent surtout pas que les violences s'arrêtent, parce que l'anarchie profite à certains. Et c'est ainsi qu'interviennent l'indignation, la colère du juste, la mobilisation pour la justice qui peut aller jusqu'à exposer sa vie pour défendre les droits des plus petits et des plus humbles en agissant avec eux. Et à côté des manifestations politiques qui sont nécessaires, il y a la poursuite des abuseurs et des assassins afin de mettre fin à l'impunité. Et c'est là que l'usage du protocole du gouvernement britannique nous a été utile pendant cette formation. Nous ne devons pas tous être des professionnels du droit, mais nous sommes tous censés connaître la loi et l'enseignement social de l'Église pour un vrai discernement. Et je termine avec l'importance de la solidarité. Un chrétien isolé n'est pas un franc-tireur, il est en danger de mort dans ce cas-là. Et un chrétien qui se limiterait à des dévotions et à des neuvaines oublierait que le corps du Christ n'est pas seulement dans le tabernacle, mais dans tout frère et toute sœur qui souffrent. Et c'est en Église, en communauté de consacrés, en communauté de base, en paroisse, en diocèse, que nous pouvons faire la différence. Et c'est ainsi que l'Église peut acquérir et exercer une vraie compétence et être crédible aux yeux des populations ravagées et aux yeux des gouvernements. Surtout quand elle est transparente quant à l'usage des moyens financiers qui lui sont confiés. Cet engagement, cette rencontre de Goma a été suivie d'un engagement renouvelé des participants en faveur des victimes, dans la qualité de l'écoute et du suivi, et aussi dans un certain professionnalisme. Des groupes de réflexion ont été créés et de nouvelles initiatives ont été prises. Il en est né un manuel qui reprend la méthodologie et les contenus qui existent en français et en anglais et que vous pouvez trouver et télécharger sur le site de l'UISG. Bref, je crois que les catholiques et particulièrement les consacrés peuvent apporter un témoignage irremplaçable dans un pays ravagé, qu'il ne faut jamais lâcher l'articulation entre compassion, indignation et solidarité si nous voulons être fidèles aux grandes intuitions et à l'enseignement du Saint-Père à la suite du Seigneur. Celui-ci nous rappelle ce soir, ce que tu as fait au plus petit d'entre les miens, c'est à moi que tu l'as fait. Alors partout où nous sommes, nous qui sommes ici aujourd'hui, prenons des initiatives pour ne pas laisser notre table ronde sans conséquence. Informons-nous, dénonçons, agissons pour soutenir ceux et celles qui travaillent au loin, mais donnons aussi la priorité ici aux plus vulnérables autour de nous. Aujourd'hui, dans le Soudan du Sud et en RDC, comme ailleurs en Afrique, le Christ poursuit sa passion sous nos yeux. Ne le laissons pas seul. Merci.
Merci Bernard. Ces trois mots importants, compassion, indignation et solidarité. En arrivant à Rome en 2013, le pape François nous avait dit servir, accompagner et défendre les pauvres. Je crois que c'est une autre façon de le dire. Maintenant, nous allons donner la parole à Monseigneur Marcel Utembi, qui est archevêque de Kisangani et président de la conférence épiscopale du Congo, qui va nous parler des défis de l'Église face à la promotion de la non-violence active, du dialogue respectueux et du vivre dans la paix juste. Vous avez pu suivre tout le travail de la conférence épiscopale du Congo sur le registre de la défense des droits. Monseigneur Marcel était l'artisan principal de ce travail. Nous avons le plaisir de l'entendre maintenant. Merci.
Merci. Éminence, Excellence, chers frères et sœurs, je vous transmets la salutation de la Conférence épiscopale nationale du Congo et de tous les peuples congolais. Il m'a été demandé de parler des défis de l'Église pour promouvoir la non-violence active, un dialogue respectueux et vivre dans la paix juste. Le défi pour l'Église catholique en RD Congo de promouvoir la non-violence active, un dialogue respectueux et vivre dans la paix juste date depuis la veille de l'accession de notre pays à l'indépendance jusqu'à ce jour. Notre pays a connu plusieurs vagues de violence à travers des guerres qualifiées de toutes dénominations. Guerre d'indépendance, guerre de libération, guerre de ressources naturelles, guerre d'occupation, guerre de représailles. Cette situation a fait de nombreuses victimes qui se comptent par plusieurs millions. Devant cette situation, il n'est pas évident de promouvoir la non-violence active, un dialogue respectueux. Il n'est pas facile non plus d'espérer de vivre dans la paix juste. C'est dans ces contextes que l'Église en RD Congo tente de jouer son rôle prophétique en faveur de ces peuples assoiffés de justice, de paix, du bien-être, de la réconciliation, d'un état de droit. Pour mener à bon terme son engagement prophétique, la Conférence épiscopale nationale du Congo a développé une série de stratégies, notamment l'engagement dans le dialogue, la formation à la doctrine sociale de l'Église et l'éducation civique, des prises de position dans les messages et la mission de plaidoyer à l'interne comme à l'externe. Dans Evangelii Gaudium, le pape François indique que l'Église proclame l'évangile de la paix et est ouverte à la collaboration avec toutes les autorités nationales et internationales pour prendre soin de ce bien universel si grand. Le premier moyen privilégié, c'est le dialogue comme forme de rencontre, recherche de consensus et d'accord avec la préoccupation d'une société juste, capable de mémoire et sans exclusion. La Conférence épiscopale nationale du Congo a observé avec beaucoup de préoccupation les divergences au sein de la classe politique ainsi que la recrudescence des tensions dans le pays qui pouvaient, si l'on y prenait garde, conduire la nation à l'implosion et au chaos. Ces tensions sont nées de l'impasse du processus électoral dont la régularité et la continuité ont été interrompues. Dès lors, dès le début de cette crise, la Conférence épiscopale a exhorté les filles et fils de la RD Congo à emprunter la voie du dialogue. Un premier dialogue a été organisé et a abouti à l'accord politique signé entre parties prenantes le 18 octobre 2016. Malheureusement, cet accord a souffert de manque d'inclusivité par le fait que certains acteurs politiques clés et sociaux n'y avaient pas pris part. Puis un deuxième dialogue a suivi sous la médiation de la Conférence épiscopale et a abouti à la signature de l'accord politique global et inclusif du Centre interdiocésain, signé le 31 décembre 2016, appelé aussi accord de la Saint-Sylvestre. L'Église s'est donc engagée dans la médiation pour une cause particulièrement importante et urgente, la cause de la réconciliation nationale, de la justice et de la paix. Elle a fait comprendre aux parties prenantes que le dialogue annihile le clivage et permet de mieux comprendre l'autre et ses différences. Le dialogue est un chemin de grandeur humaine. Il est urgent de l'approfondir et de l'étendre à d'autres régions quand on considère le besoin de réconciliation, de justice et de paix que ressentent avec acuité plusieurs régions d'Afrique. Le dialogue constructeur exige le respect mutuel des parties prenantes. La CENCO estime que la bonne gestion des biens du pays en général et les ressources naturelles en particulier constitue un facteur déterminant pour la paix, le vivre ensemble. Pour ce faire, en plus de la Commission épiscopale Justice et Paix, elle a créé en son sein une commission épiscopale des ressources naturelles chargée de suivre la question de l'exploitation des ressources naturelles et exiger le respect des droits humains par les compagnies œuvrant dans ce secteur. Agissant en collaboration avec d'autres composantes de la société civile, la conférence épiscopale dénonce souvent l'ordre injuste qui empêche le peuple congolais de consolider leur économie. L'Église enseigne qu'une paix véritable n'est possible que par le pardon et la réconciliation. Les commissions diocésaines Justice et Paix, avec l'implication directe des pasteurs, œuvrent de manière permanente pour rapprocher les cœurs, les esprits, les personnes humaines et les communautés en conflit. Le pardon des bourreaux par leurs victimes se pratique en certains endroits. En outre, la prévention des conflits entre communautés fait partie de la formation des jeunes. Dans son message de paix de 2017, le pape François invite à la construction de la paix par le moyen de la non-violence active. C'est dans ce sens que la conférence épiscopale s'est engagée pour la réalisation des stratégies non violentes pour promouvoir la paix. À cet effet, elle a initié par sa commission épiscopale Justice et Paix un programme de sensibilisation sur les manifestations pacifiques et les revendications des droits par des moyens non violents. À titre indicatif, pour appeler le gouvernement au respect du calendrier électoral, il a été initié dans certains diocèses, en particulier à Kinshasa, de sonner les cloches des églises chaque jeudi pendant 15 minutes à partir de 21 h. D'autres ont initié les neuvaines de prière, tout comme les processions pour la paix. La manifestation pacifique des chrétiens de Kinshasa, le 31 décembre dernier, est un exemple évident de la pratique de la non-violence active. Quelques défis à relever. Il faudrait replacer l'homme créé à l'image de Dieu au centre des préoccupations politiques. Le dialogue, comme mode permanent de l'édification de la paix ensemble, doit être promu. Le respect des engagements pris individuellement et collectivement, le respect des constitutions des accords doit être aussi promu. Le respect des droits de l'homme et des libertés fondamentales doivent être encouragés et promus. L'engagement pour la justice et pour l'avènement d'un état de droit comme devoir de tout un peuple. Nous faisons aussi quelques suggestions. Pour construire ensemble la paix, nous préconisons notamment la prière. Pas seulement la prière entre catholiques, mais aussi des prières écuméniques. Deuxième voie, l'acte de réconciliation, comme préconisé dans l'exhortation apostolique à Fritz Munus, la célébration d'un jour ou d'une semaine de réconciliation pendant l'Avent ou les carêmes pourrait contribuer à une réconciliation collective. En effet, pour bâtir une société réconciliée, juste et pacifique, le moyen le plus efficace est une vie d'intime communion avec Dieu et avec les autres. Troisième suggestion, l'éducation à la paix. Nos familles chrétiennes, nos écoles, nos communautés, nos paroisses devront devenir des lieux privilégiés de l'initiation à la culture du dialogue, de la paix, du pardon et de la réconciliation. Quatrième suggestion, la mise sur pied d'une enquête indépendante, sérieuse et objective pour établir la responsabilité sur les atrocités commises en RD Congo et ailleurs pour les cas d'espèces au Soudan du Sud. Il est nécessaire de promouvoir le respect des droits à la paix. Ces droits favorisent la construction d'une société à l'intérieur de laquelle les rapports de force sont remplacés par les rapports de collaboration en vue du bien commun. En conclusion, comme l'affirme Gaudium et Spes, l'humanité ne réussira à édifier un monde réellement plus humain pour tous les hommes et partout sur terre que si tous se renouvellent intérieurement et se tournent vers la vérité de la paix. Il est donc possible de construire la paix ensemble et de la consolider en comptant sur le presse de la paix et en s'engageant résolument en faveur de la paix. Je vous remercie.
Merci, Monseigneur Marcel. Votre message est très clair et nous propose des actions. Nous allons maintenant écouter Jane Adolphe, qui travaille à la deuxième section de la secrétairie d'État, celle qui est chargée de la relation avec les États. Son travail est centré sur les droits de l'homme. C'est donc une juriste. Elle est canadienne, je crois, d'origine. Le titre de son intervention, c'est l'importance du droit international dans les décisions de promotion des droits de l'homme, avec des exemples de cas d'abus sexuels et d'enfants soldats. Merci, Jane. You speak English?
I will speak English. I'm sorry. Canadian, two official languages. Unfortunately, I was out west too much, where the English-speaking people are. Okay. So the title of this is Certain Aspects in International Law and Policy on Women, Children, Peace, and Security. So I've reframed the title a bit. I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting me. I would like to express my sincere appreciation for not only this round table, but the prayer vigil for peace dedicated to the Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan in November 2017. So this is a two-pronged initiative designed, in the words of Pope Francis, to sow seeds of peace in the hands of South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo and in all lands devastated by war. Father Morris Ibiko talked about being present. I'm honored to be here among all of you, especially those who have worked and are working on the front lines, serving victims or survivors through various initiatives, including those devoted to ensuring domestic application of international law and policy, especially regarding women and children. Others have been involved in mediation efforts. Needless to say, many who have selflessly assisted, comforted, healed, and consoled victims of atrocities are no longer with us, having been killed during their service. They are gone, but not forgotten. Weighing heavy upon the heart of Pope Francis is the particular suffering of women and children in armed conflict. In his homily at the prayer vigil in 2017, he prayed, "May the risen Lord comfort those women who are the victims of violence in war zones and throughout the world. May he protect children who suffer from conflicts in which they have no part, but which rob them of their childhood and at time of life itself." My reflections today are offered on the topic of women, children, peace, and security within the United Nations system through the lens of international law and policy. To this end, the presentation is really divided into two sections. The first one will consider women and children as victims or survivors of violence in international law, while the second will address women as peacemakers and peace builders in international policy. The decision to divide my reflections in this way stems from an intervention of the Holy See within the United Nations system. The Holy See, during the 2017 UN Security Council open debate on women, peace, and security in New York, emphasized that women are, on the one hand, proven agents of peace, and on the other hand, proven victims of violence. Open quote. The experience of the Catholic Church in conflict resolution, peacemaking, and peace building at the grassroots level has amply demonstrated that women have been key and are peacemakers. They generally disarm the violent with their multiple capacities to comprehend and empathize, dissuade and convince, forgive and rebuild lives, families, and entire communities, end quote. The Holy See went on to emphasize the tragedy, of course, that many of today's armed conflicts demonstrate that women and children are primary targets and victims of all forms of violence. The crime of sexual violence against women and girls, in particular, has reached horrific proportions, not only driven by the violent disorder within certain individuals, but by those responsible for developing systematic plans of war and terror. In regard to the latter, sexual violence against women and children is used to emasculate the males, especially the soldiers called upon to protect them, all with the ultimate goal of destroying the very fabric of societies and nations. Why target women and girls? Because women and girls, due to their special capacities, are viewed as bearers of an ethno-national identity based on their ability to beget, nurture, and transmit moral, religious, and cultural traditions. In specific regard to the DRC and South Sudan, plagued by ongoing armed conflicts, massacres, and destruction, as well as tensions and political and social instability, in 2017, Pope Francis encouraged, quote, every effort on the local and international level to renew peaceful civil coexistence. He urged all to work diligently to pursue reconciliation, dialogue between all elements of civil society. When we consider the first section dealing with international law, women and children as victims or survivors of violence, the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, adopted in 1988, comes to mind. Although during the negotiations several issues were the subject of much controversy, some of the terminology, such as crime of forced pregnancy and the term gender, which were ultimately defined in the statute provides for a treaty-based criminal court to try individuals for specific atrocity offenses committed after the treaty entered into force in 2002. The court, located in The Hague, the Netherlands, is an independent and permanent court, not a body of the United Nations. Notwithstanding the ongoing debate about the wisdom and effectiveness of this court, and taking into the consideration that not all states have ratified the Rome Statute, including the Holy See, the Rome Statute nevertheless lists crimes of relevance for women and children in armed conflict, designated to prosecute only the worst of crimes and the worst of offenders, not every crime, not every offender. It is nonetheless a beacon to those state parties which are unable or unwilling to prosecute such crimes on the local level. Notwithstanding the paucity of certain convictions, the Office of Prosecutor for the ICC acknowledges that crimes of sexual violence are amongst the severest under the statute and should be given importance in all stages of its work. The Rome Statute explicitly acknowledges that rape is a war crime, as well as sexual slavery, enforced prostitution, forced pregnancy, enforced sterilization, and any other form of sexual violence. In addition, the crime of genocide and rape, along with other acts of sexual violence, the crime of rape, along with other acts of sexual violence, may constitute an act of genocide when, among other things, such acts are committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group. The crime of rape is a distinct type of crime against humanity, along with sexual slavery. We had an intervention on forced marriage. A 2016 decision of the ICC has said that forced marriage is a crime under the crime of sexual slavery. Last but not least, conscripting or enlisting children under the age of 15 and using them to participate actively in hostilities is a war crime. In addition, we do have the 2000 optional protocol to the Convention on the Rights of the Child on the involvement of children in armed conflict, which aims to increase that age to 18, and it requests state parties to implement in their domestic jurisdictions and make those crimes. From my research, Congo has not ratified this convention, but that might not be a bad idea, taking into consideration that it's the non-governmental organizations on the ground, if they've got connections on the international level, to then be active on the international scale and questioning any reports that Congo could bring. There's no better person in this room to understand the implications of NGOs on the international level and what they can do in positive and negative senses is His Excellency Tomasi, who was the head of the delegation when the Holy See went before the Committee on the Rights of the Child, the Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, and the Committee Against Torture. The DRC ratified the Rome Statute in 2002, and then in 2004 referred the situation in its entire territory to the ICC. So beginning from July 1, 2002, we do have investigations into crimes in Congo. So we have a press release, for example, in 2002 that acknowledged reports of an alleged pattern of rape, torture, forced displacement, and the illegal use of child soldiers. Indeed, some of the first cases prosecuted by the ICC were those from the DRC, and they included issues concerning the definition of rape and cases involving grievous accounts of sexual violence. These cases and investigations are ongoing, and they include the child soldier. Sadly, the crimes of atrocity continue, and the recent death toll includes 2 UN officials who were in the DRC for investigative purposes. So I'm going to turn right now to Section 2, International Policy, Women as Peacemakers and Peace Builders. So that was the bad news, in the sense of crimes are continuing, notwithstanding on the level we do have an International Criminal Court. In 2000, the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 was adopted, and for the first time it addressed the unique impact of armed conflict on women and children. It stressed the need for women's full and equal participation in all stages of the peace process, informal and formal. Now, following this resolution, there have been several others, including those regarding sexual violence. Certain language in some of these resolutions are problematic. For example, the subject matter of much debate is that pertaining to sexual and reproductive health rights, which for many is defined as promoting abortion. And this is instead of advancing psychological support, medical aid, as well as material and financial assistance on the ground level something Catholic institutions and associations are struggling to do. One practical initiative is the recommendation that governments develop national action plans. Congo has. It has 4 main pillars: participation and representation of women in the field of peace and security, promotion and protection of the rights of women, advancement of transitional justice, security sector reform. Again, you have NGOs now that can look at that report and hold the Congo accountable. And there is a report out that criticizes this, and you can find it on the website, and says that this action plan is wanting. So basically, from the NGO perspective, to try to force implementation, it's about name and shame. Now, an interesting development has been the promotion of the Global Study Report, where they want to now not only look at sector reform, but include a broader base through human rights law, and to refer to it in that sense. There is a list of other initiatives that have been very helpful on the international level, and a couple of those regard a special representative on sexual violence in conflict, and a special representative for children in armed conflict. And I know that His Excellency Tomasi has worked with these entities in Geneva, and he's here today. I'd just like to close. When one considers the ongoing violence in both the DRC, South Sudan, despite the development of certain mechanisms in international law and policy to prevent, protect, prohibit, and prosecute, the words of the Holy See come to mind. Authentic peace is not found in the transformation of structures per se, but rather in the conversion of hearts. We need to be educated, as His Excellency just said, in the ways of peace, to have our minds and hearts open to embrace the pillars of a peaceful society: truth, justice, charity, and freedom. Women are an invaluable part of this educational process. They have been called teachers of peace, because God has entrusted trusted the human being to women in a special way. Accordingly, education in the ways of peace begins first and foremost during the informal peace process, that is, within the family, the fundamental school of social living, and then extends to all sectors of society where women participate, including the formal peace processes on the local, national, and international levels. Educational efforts have been developed in particular by various congregations that we've seen today on the local level. And in the end, I think what we have to remember is that international juridical and policy mechanisms are developed by human persons, created for them, and implemented by them. And the generous work of everyone that is working on the ground brings much hope. Thank you for your attention.
Buonasera a tutti. Queste immagini raffigurano Nostra Signora di Valme, come potete ben immaginare, molto venerata in Spagna per le numerose grazie ricevute. Valme vuol dire aiutami, soccorrimi. Queste statue peregrinanti saranno segno dell'interesse e dell'attenzione del Papa per le vostre nazioni e del conforto della Madre di Dio, portatrice di pace e di speranza. Prego voi, Monsignore Utemi e Don Ichibo, di accettarle quale pegno da parte di Papa Francesco e di tutti noi per l'aiuto ai vostri paesi, con preghiere e azioni al fine di ottenere finalmente la sospirata pace. I migliori auguri.
Salve Regina.
Au nom de la Conférence épiscopale nationale du Congo et de tous les peuples de la République démocratique du Congo, j'adresse mes remerciements au Saint-Père et à toute l'Assemblée des fidèles pour avoir confié notre pays entre les mains de la Vierge Marie, Notre-Dame de la Paix, qu'elle daigne intercéder à la faveur de notre pays pour que la paix construite ensemble s'établisse dans les cœurs et dans notre pays. Merci.
In all our difficulties and in all our suffering and in all our miseries as the people of South Sudan, we trust in God and we believe that we are always held on the wings of prayers, and this special dedication to our Mother Mary will be very helpful. And thank you so much, and thank you for joining us in prayer. And this is a very special gesture that will belong to the Universal Church, and that we have people around us who are praying for us. Thank you so much.
With us, You took upon you all the evil of the world.